Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this evening at Tarnation TV simulcast on Tarnation TV and on the Flatout Racing Network YouTube channels. A glorious day it will be this evening. Race number 5 at season 67. That's how long this thing's been going on. And one of our favorite mods, it doesn't matter. Let's just get straight to it. My name is Blaine Donovan, joined again by Kyle Matthews and Seth Cole from Flatout Racing.
Yeah, and we are headed into the second half of this regular season now. Last week's checkered flag marked the halfway point. We are now in full preparation for positioning ourselves for the playoffs here. 4 drivers have already locked themselves in through wins, but a lot of moving pieces can take place between now and the end of the regular season. It's interesting because on the post earlier today, plugging the race and giving some interesting statistics as well as some valuable links for the drivers participating, Josh Metallic, one of the league admins, pointed out that in these 4 races so far this season, we've had 2 races where there have been 3 cautions that have waved and some rather big wrecks, and then 2 races where there's only been 1 caution flag, and a lot of the emphasis has been on green flag pit stops. Kyle, all of 4 of those races, while they are different, they are similar in the fact that there is still a sense of survival. In the races where we had the multiple cautions, there was the survival of potential mistakes of the drivers around you. But in the races where we only had the 1 caution, there was survival in making sure that you are not subjected to self-sabotage. Where do you potentially see as we head into the second half of the regular season? What side of the spectrum are we on here? Is it going to be much like the 1 caution and long green flag run like we saw last week? Or do you think now, as the pressure starts to set in, we may see more multiple caution races?
I mean, we've been in a bit of a trend here where it's been that 1 caution and, early on in the race, and then that's it. So, if I was racing in this series, I'd try to prepare for that, honestly. Just if there's going to be just 1 caution, that puts a lot of pressure on everybody to not make any mistakes, either coming to pit road or, doing something on the track that could get you in trouble. And I'm sure that is in the back of everybody's mind right now. But, maybe the closer we get to that playoff cutoff point, maybe the aggression will pick up a little bit. There could be some great guys out there.
Going to be all about execution here in these final 4 races of the regular season. For our pole sitter, Grant Wesley, he's one of 4 drivers that has already gone to victory lane this season. Also comes in leading the point standings, so he knows he'll be battling for the championship. Rodney Sullins, who shares the front row with him, he is currently 7th in the point standings, still chasing that first victory of season 1, but a lot of drivers up here with good starting track position. Ken Roberts, Mike Mangialardi in row 2, Bobby Farrell, Michael Norman, Greg Lovell, Richard Martin. We can see his car here tonight, that petty blue 43 on the outside of row number 4. And your top 10 starters are going to be Robert Breedlove and Greg Palmer. They are 40 cars strong once again, full field tonight, and the second half of the regular season is green.
Thanks, as always, to our unnamed sponsor for season number 67. They won't tell us who they are, but that's the reason you're watching this live. So we thank you very much, whoever you may be.
But Rodney Sullins did not get off to a good start on the outside. Whoever that is behind him, I can't quite tell who it is, but couldn't stay with him. He's going to lose a couple spots on the outside line as you see Grant Wesley now move up to that outside line.
The car behind him will be the number 29 Black Hawk Down Dark Horse. Actually, no, I don't think it's a Dark Horse Mustang. It's just a Ford Mustang here with the Men Cup 2019 cars. Mike Mangialardi. Farrell trying to get something going there on the inside line with help from the 880 of Greg Lovell.
They've already got a third line going on that outside. I believe that's Greg Palmer leading that line as Grant Wesley will lead the first lap.
30 drivers were locked into the field here tonight by being in the top 30 in the standings. The other 10 had to race their way in through qualifying. A number of drivers missing out on the show here tonight, including Robert Spring, Jim Glaude, I believe Graham McDonald, and Chris Elliott were amongst the DNQ drivers here this evening. You mentioned about Greg Palmer. There are a lot of drivers that they're very fortunate they're still in the top 30 in points, but they are mired down in the standings. Palmer is one of those drivers so far still searching for his first top 10 of the season, mired 23rd in points. Tonight needs to be a good run for driver 22.
That is really strange to see. He's usually a front runner, a guy up there contending for a lot of victories, but just hasn't had anything, can't catch a break so far this season. Hopefully he can turn things around tonight. You see him, second car on that outside line, leading that line. Cletus.
Our own Michael Norman, who via the random qualifying draw netted 6th place starting position. And now Grant will see that run coming, move up to block it. Michael with the toe of the 88 and the push of the 22 will challenge Ken Roberts for the second spot. Another third line forming back there. That's Kelly Causey with help from Dennis McCarthy. So it's right around that 9th, 10th position that the third line seems to be formulating.
They're making up a lot of ground on that outside line, too.
Saw Grant switch from the middle down to the bottom, seeing that third line coming. We usually see when there's a third lane, the trend is that it pulls back that middle line, gives momentum to the inside line. How about Chuck McClure up there on the top side? He'll take it 3 wide for around the third position. Help there from the 889 of RJ Cabana. Nice to see him back in the field. We saw him get off to a hot start at the beginning of season 67, but has missed the last couple of races, now dropping him down to 27th in points. He ended up having, if I remember correctly, I think it was back-to-back top 10s to start out the season, but missing the last 2 weeks. Still got an opportunity here tonight. Piece to go to victory lane, then you got 3 weeks to work on at least getting up into the top 20 for a playoff position.
Yeah, they both saw that outside line coming right there. They both jumped up in front of Kelly Causey. But now it looks like McClure's going to lead that middle groove right there, getting in front of Michael Norman. Well, as soon as I say that, he goes to the very bottom.
Found himself a space right behind Bernie Mobb, so he'll slot in roughly about, I would say, the maybe 10th position.
Boy, I'm glad this is a virtual game and not a real-life race, because right there, the 31 of Bernie Mobb's, the 712 of Bob Seminara, that is a spotter's nightmare right there.
Which car's mine? Oh, the red, white, and blue one. Oh, okay. Like about our top 11 or 12 on that inside line have gotten themselves single filed. Saw a number of them towards the latter half of the top 10 really accordion up as they were making their way through the center of 1 and 2 to the exit. Got to be aware of that checkup, especially on entry. Now Bob Seminara going to go up to the outside of Robert Breedlove. We saw Seminara so close to picking up that victory last week, a solid podium finish, and he is the driver coming into tonight. Well, I guess collectively he and Brian Schilling, who are in a tie for second place, they're the two trying to run down driver 88 Grant Wesley. 18 points in arrears for the overall points lead coming into this evening's race.
Yeah, Seminara's been knocking on the door of victory lane quite a bit this season. Would not surprise me if he was able to pull a win out here. Mentioned how close he came last week, finishing second.
We talked about
Petty throwback.
How they put the number on the car, the 711, but because he's a 712, they just changed that word. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, we talk about how difficult it is when it comes to super speedway racing week in, week out to stay consistent. Grant Wesley is the only driver to score a top 10 in the first 4 races. Seminara and Schilling have been able to score 3 top 10s in these first 4 races. So there's a trifecta of drivers right there. They've been able to find that secret formula of at least being able to finish up there at the front every single week. We'll have to see if it carries over into the second half of the season. The problem right now for Seminara as opposed to the other two is they've got victories. He doesn't yet.
Currently leading that second line right there. Getting a nice push there from Chuck McClure. Now we have a battle for the lead. Ken Roberts saw that momentum, went to the outside. Wesley went with him, though. It's going to leave Rodney Sollins on the bottom to lead that line.
One driver that's going to be really fun to watch here these final 4 races of the regular season is going to be Chuck McClure. Hasn't exactly been the best start for him here in season 67. Yes, he's netted 2 top 5s, but his other 2 finishes in the first 4 races have been mediocre at best. He finds himself coming into tonight 14th in the point standings. For those wondering, that would not have him in the playoffs right now. You got to be in the top 12 in the points to be a playoff eligible driver. He comes into this season with the pressure of being the defending champion. It'll be interesting to see now, as we've crossed the halfway threshold, if he can establish a sense of momentum here, maybe get a victory before we get to the end of the regular season and lock himself into defending his title from one season ago.
Yeah, that is quite a surprise right there. The defending champion yet to win a race, not even in, like you said, not even in that top 12 in points so far.
See Michael back up there in that third lane. Looks like he's got Team Wrecking Ball behind him. Ulysses Sandoval and Javier Negron. The car just to his left, that bright blue Ryan Newman throwback we saw go to victory lane last week. Josh Metallic ending a little mini personal winless streak, and now knows that he'll be going championship racing at the end of the regular season. Also ended up jumping 3 spots in the standings to 4th in points coming into tonight. So while we've got, obviously, most of the field looking for their first win on the season, keep an eye on Wesley, Schilling, Metallic, and Nofsker here tonight, trying to maybe lay claim to the first multi-time winner of Season 67.
Well, Wesley's in a good position for that right now. Granted, we're only on lap number 10 coming to 11, and I believe Chuck McClure led that lap there.
I'm sorry, did you say we were on the white flag? Because they just decided to go
You would
3
think.
wide, 4 or 5 rows deep.
It's amazing watching these guys do this week after week. Like, we've all been out there with this, and it doesn't matter how many times you do it. Stressful.
Oh,
It's so much fun.
I love super speedway racing, but as you mentioned, stressful. This would really stress me out right there. I could not, especially if I was in the middle of a 3-wide situation like that. I just...
We've been 200 mile an hour average for the entire race so far. We're 12 laps in, and I'm already fatigued, and I'm just watching this.
It's really interesting to see Greg Palmer, Michael Norman nose to tail here. They've been working together really since the start of the race. Maybe there's a little blue oval alliance there, but the reason why it's kind of odd to see them working together is because Greg Palmer, we know that he loves driving the number 22. Michael is a Joey Logano fan. And in a lot of other series or a lot of special events, they're usually fighting tooth and nail to see who's the first one to sign up for the 22, and then the other one has to sign up for the 022. Well, with Michael now having the Cletus number 30, Greg probably breathing a sigh of relief.
Yeah, no fisticuffs over numbers anymore. We're good.
Nope.
Not a big surprise to see Ulysses Sandoval right behind Michael. Those two are pretty good friends. Wow,
And
Grant
Michael-
Wesley is really falling back, too. He's right behind these guys. He was just up front a lap ago.
I think that he got put kind of in the sucker hole when we saw Palmer make that jump up to the outside a couple of laps ago at the start-finish line.
Him and Despirito both kind of got stuck in the vortex there.
And that's something, too, that, obviously you love the security knowing that you're locked into the postseason to battle for the championship. But when you win a race here in this series, we've had drivers say it is so difficult to win here because every driver in the field, you can make a clear case for them to win the event on any given night. You pick up a checkered flag, drivers know that you're already locked into the playoffs. That might make them a little less anxious to push you up to the front. They may be more inclined to put you in the sucker hole and say, hey, I need the win a lot more than you do.
Yeah, this is the kind of series where it's like, it's more surprising to see who hasn't won compared to who has won. Just so many big names that, haven't won in a number of seasons, but, are up there all the time. But that just shows you how competitive it is.
And you were saying there was 4 drivers that didn't qualify for this race because we had too many?
As far as I'm aware, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Elliott, Jim Glaude, Graham McDonald, Robert Spring. Another driver that's not in the field here tonight actually chimed into our YouTube chat. Unfortunately, we don't get to say Randy Waugh
Luigi
multiple times tonight. He is currently at a wrestling tournament, but he is currently tuned in on his phone. Corey says hello. So hopefully we'll see Randy back behind the wheel of his number 21 in 2 weeks' time. We will be off next week as it will be Speed Weeks at Daytona. RTG drivers like tuning into the duels that take place on a Thursday night. So every beginning of the new year, when we hit February, they always take that Thursday night off. So we will be off that week and back to racing in 2 weeks' time.
Might be a quiet week in sim racing next week with
Very
Daytona
well
500 getting wound up. So is this with the actual Daytona 500? I think they've got a new point structure going on. NASCAR changed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, they basically brought the chase back from, what year would it have been, Kyle? 2005 or 2006?
Well, it debuted in 2004 when it was just the top 10 in points, but it's a little bit different. I understand. I think it's still 16 drivers, but there's no elimination. There's no win and you're in type format. So,
and there's emphasis on winning. I think the winner of the races gets way more points. So it's more, without the knockout thing, it looks like it can be pretty cool.
And another of the big wins in relation to that chase. Sorry to all Arizona fans, but the season finale is going to its rightful spot. We're going back to Homestead.
Yeah, that always feels right.
I mean, if they hadn't have reconfigured Atlanta, I would say that would be the ideal spot. But Homestead, I don't have an issue with that being the finale.
That's a cool track. And it just feels right. It's always the last race. Should be.
Look at Michael on the outside right there, looking for the race lead. He's got Ulysses trying to push him right there, but they're the only two on that outside line.
Yeah, that was an odd situation on the back straightaway. I don't know if there was an uneven bump or maybe a potential bumper grab. It almost looked like Michael got shot up to the third lane unwillingly, and Ulysses tried to help bail him out. Now they're both getting freight trained there. Michael seemed pretty committed to Greg Palmer. I don't think he was trying to make a move. I think they may have bumper grabbed a little bit, and now Michael's going to fall back here, which, credit to Michael. He's been running up inside of the top 10, top 15, but a little behind the mic. We ended up hearing from him that his goal, whenever he ends up making races this season, is to make sure he finds the 48 of Cody Lamas, doesn't allow him to lollygag at the rear of the field. He's going to push him up to the front. So now that he's no longer running up here, I'm noticing him falling back into the zip code of red and white 48.
I could see Cody from here, at least the last, at least I could earlier in the lap right there. So
pit stops.
Oh, and we got one locking him up there, Ron Hagelin. Got a few down here, including Jeremy Jeffries. Mark Paglia as well. This is interesting. There's a couple of drivers in this pack that we normally don't see pit this early on. Donnie Garrett, another of them, maybe changing up the strategy a little bit here.
Yeah, I didn't realize we were on lap number, now we're on lap number 19. Yeah, right around time for pit stops. I mean, this is another race that just has a green flag look to it right now. No cautions yet. I know I probably just jinxed it right there. But
the commentator's curse, we're invoking it. Oh my!
Wow!
It's like a parking lot coming to pit road.
They're like 4 or 5 wide coming in. Oh no! Glenn Harris is around.
We almost had a flaw. That was like 20 cars pitting and only.
It was crazy.
Wow. That was amazing.
It's like David Little around in the grass there. Mangialardi came to a stop to allow him to get turned back around, but they had to have been 5 wide at certain portions of that formation.
They were. I
don't think I've ever seen that many cars come to pit road at one time in this series,
they all right
at least.
There. Yeah, there's got to be. And only have a couple go around near the end. That's flawless. That's amazing. This is a simulator.
Of last season, it was.
Oh no, the 29 got turned around. There's 4 wide coming out of the pits right here.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. That's great.
Got to get this all organized here. You can merge up in turn 1, but you really don't want to be 3 wide on the apron going into the corner. Looks like they're all going to make it up.
All things considered, everybody did a great job in that situation. I know we had a couple of cars go around at the very end, but wow, that was impressive.
Bob
Yeah.
Seminara. Not sure if he's... Yeah, I think he's coming back in.
I'm not seeing a black flag being shown.
No, I'm not either. Brian Schilling, Terry
He might have
Bombard, they
missed.
went an extra lap. Maybe Bob went an extra lap too, but if he did, he lost a lot of ground.
Oh, yeah, he's going to the stall, so he's not serving a penalty.
Yeah, I'll try and figure out... I'll go back and see if I can figure out what happened to him, because he lost a lot of ground to the leaders. Oh, I think he might have missed his pit stall.
Oh,
he-
man, that is a...
Yep, he did.
Yeah,
Yep,
that
he drove
wouldn't
right by it.
that wouldn't have been hard to do. With, like you said, it looked like a parking lot at Walmart. And if you're, depending where you are, Ulysses Sandoval, what happened there? He's losing power? No,
Is he maybe out of fuel?
it's
Did he miss
possible.
his stall as well?
Yeah. No, we still got engine noise coming out of the 096. But he is really slow on the back straight. A couple guys went around him last second, almost caused an accident.
Yeah, he's coming down pit road. The lap prior looked like David Little, Pat McCarskey, Cody Lamas all came down pit road for pass-throughs.
He might get a black flag for that. He entered the pits to about 90. On board with Ulysses.
Well, we talked about, the last couple of weeks, very
Oh.
few caution flags. This could be costly for quite a few of these drivers.
He went to pit and then turned away from stopping.
Yeah, it might have been where he wasn't certain if it was going to be a pass-through or a stop-and-go,
Huh.
and might have been waiting for the pit sign to come down and turn towards his stall just in case, but then when he saw the pit sign didn't come down, he realized it was just a stop-and-go and turned the wheel back to the right.
Black flag being shown to the 096. That's probably for speeding, because I was in the cockpit with him coming in there, and he was doing about 90, and he wasn't hot pitting.
Yeah, you mentioned about the fact that on our respective scoring pylons, we didn't see anybody hit with a black flag of those that came down pit road. But the 48, the 083, and the 197 who's about to get lapped, they all came down for pass-throughs. I'm wondering if some of the contact we saw at the tail end of that group, that massive group that were coming to pit road, if maybe some of those drivers were involved in the contact, and so they're serving a pass-through for that, so that way they don't get a post-race EOL. I'm not 100% certain if incidents coming onto pit lane are deemed responsibility of drivers and warrant a post-race EOL or not, but they might have been covering their bases just in case.
Early in the race, probably not a bad call to do that. Better safe than sorry, especially in a league with this many participants.
Especially, too, a number of those drivers, like Pat McCarskey, Cody Lamas, that I know of, they're down there battling to stay in the 30 in points to be able to race every week.
There's Cody right there, not too far ahead of the leaders.
Is there damage on the back of that car? I can't tell.
Which one's that?
Cody Lamas.
I can check with the drone here. Oh, Lamas is number 48. Yeah.
Hard to tell. Maybe right up around the left rear quarter panel. I'm not sure. He may have gotten run into from behind coming to pit road or something. Cody's going to fall a lap down. We've got 5 drivers off the lead lap right now. Mike Mangialardi, Pat
Might
McCarskey, Lizzie
be-
Sandoval, and David Little as well.
I think it looks okay.
Now he'll latch on to the lead group here. I think right now it's going to be himself and Pat McCarskey that are going to be duking it out. Oh no, actually throw Mike Mangialardi into that conversation too. All 3 of them up here in this lead group, fighting to be the first 2 cars 1 lap down should we see a yellow flag.
Got about 20 or so cars in this lead pack. Those green flag pit stops broke up the field just a little bit.
Yeah, we have exactly 20. Keith Bynum is trying to keep it 21. trying to stay in touch with the back of this lead group, but I don't think, without drafting help, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He's probably going to fall back to the second group. It's got drivers like Tim Nofsker, Dennis McCarthy, Kelly Causey in it. Interesting, we saw a number of different drivers pit on different laps. Jeremy Jeffries and Donnie Garrett were amongst some of the first ones to hit pit road. They're up here in this lead pack. Jeremy's the second car on the inside line behind Grant Wesley. Donnie Garrett a few cars behind them. And then you've got those drivers that came down. They went the longest on fuel, like Brian Schilling, who's got that bright yellow Kodak car just around the tail end of this lead group. So different laps coming to pit road, but they all were able to find each other and still mesh into one big pack after the cycle was complete.
Most laps led so far, the 38 of Rodney Sullivan, still leading this race, has 13. Nope, it just switched to 14, I was going to say. 14 laps led for the 38 so far. Wow. Oh my goodness, I can't see it because my GNL TV is kind of overlapping my text. Who has the fastest lap? I see 204 mile an hour.
That would be Brian Schilling at a 46.858, 204.164 miles per hour.
Man.
Is that... I've never seen a 204
I've
before.
Seen 203. I don't think I've ever seen a 204. I think that might be a first.
Wow. 204 mile an hour average, which is what we always say. They scrub off a little bit of speed in the corners, but that's an average lap. To be 204. That means, what did it hit? 205 probably a couple times on that lap.
I think it's the paint scheme that does it, that's been doing it right there. We don't know how potent that number 4 Kodak Chevrolet was back in the 90s here at Talladega and Daytona. Those Rudd Pittman motors.
Some Kodak celluloid.
If it was that fast, why did one of the drivers get the nickname Swervin'?
I mean, it was so fast, it was hard to hang on to.
Yeah. Inertia, momentum, G-force. Thing just wants to fall apart. That's how fast she's going.
I'm gonna put a B in the admin's bonnet. You should do the IndyCar rules for next season. Have the fastest lap in the race get a bonus point.
That would be
is that a thing in IndyCar?
Yep.
You get a bonus point for fastest lap? No kidding. That's cool.
Don't they do that in NASCAR as well?
I think they did for the Xfinity series. I think the Xfinity fastest lap ended up getting a bonus point, if I remember correctly. But
somebody else
don't know if they do it anymore.
Somebody just came to pit road.
Chambers, I think. I see that right. Oh, wait a second.
It was Seminara.
Seminara, yeah.
He was just about to get lapped too.
No tires.
Interesting him pitting now.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to come down for another, 10 laps?
At the very least, yeah. Like, I think the next time these drivers have to hit pit road will be in the next 6 to 7 laps.
Don't know if he's trying to short pit or have some sort of issue. Well, he's off pit road now, so... Is that some damage on the right side of his car, too, it looks like?
Not sure, but that's definitely not the run he was looking for coming into tonight. And then his first top 5 last week, second in points.
He was right up there in the top 5 or top 10 before when the green flag pit stop started.
Just goes back to what we were talking about, execution on pit road. He missed his pit stall. I wonder, I would assume not, but I wonder if with having the different paint scheme, if he has a different looking pit stall to go along with that paint scheme. We're so used to seeing him run the red and white 712, and I wonder if that might have been the stall that he was looking for on that stop, and when he went past it, it was too late.
That's a thing for like the 2 decades that I've been playing this thing. And I always just kind of made one pit box. And my pit sign was the Type O negative logo, so it's just a circle with a line in it. And I just use the same pit box for every car. Because when you, like you said, if you switch the pit box up, you might get used to looking for a red one with a blue sign, and then you're like, oh yeah, I changed that to green, and you drive right by it. If you use the entire pit lane too, some guys only have their graphics set to minimal, so you would only see your guys. But
I like seeing everybody's pit stall, but I am easily confused, and I'm old, so my my entire pit stall is just neon green.
Exactly.
If I miss it, then I'm an idiot.
And that's what I mean. Every time you paint a new car, all I do is just use the same war wagon every time. So it's always the same pit crew. My guys are orange. My sign is black and green, and that hasn't changed for 10 years.
And up until about a year and a half ago, neon green pit sign and pit box worked really well until I started racing with Allison Rodrigo, and then he had a neon green pit box, and it was like, whose is whose?
Yep. And that's the thing with every single mod. Like we've got right now, we're Monster Energy 19. We run the Aero 88s. You can run IndyCar F1. You can run the Cube mod. Doesn't matter what you're running, the pit box never changes.
Correct.
Unless you use that double-decker one, but that's a really cool tweak because it just duplicates. It's not a different template. It just duplicates the existing template. Even then you can still have it
looking pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I just put a lap on the 712. Is he 1 or 2 down now?
That'll now put him -2. He and David Little, both 2 laps down to the race leader.
All 40 cars that started are still running though, so that's good.
And right now we have 20 lead lap cars in this pack back to the 80 of Milt Surratt. Got about another dozen drivers in a pack running about roughly 6.5 seconds behind them. That's from 21st back to 30th. You then have a group of 4 that are going to be shortly in danger of maybe going a lap down themselves. Hagelin, Norman, Harris, and Carroll. Interesting there for Carroll because before we had those pit stops, I was going to mention, I noticed him beginning of this race riding at the back. He didn't qualify well via the random draw. He was 35th off the grid. And he kind of adopted a strategy that he used second half of last season where he just kind of rode and let everything culminate ahead of him. When we saw the incident with that big pack coming to pit road, I think that slowed him up. And now he, along with a number of other drivers, are hoping, they're clamoring for a caution to be able to put them, if not back on the lead lap, will keep them on the lead lap. And it was interesting because, you know, you go back to last week when we saw Josh Metallic take the checkered flag. You mentioned, Blaine, that he had also, in that same car the previous Saturday night, taken the checkered flag in ASR. I wondered if maybe we'd see lightning strike twice. Denny Carroll picked up his second win of the season at ASR this past Saturday night, but right now the odds are not looking in favor of him doubling down this week.
Josh did it the same car and the same track because ASR asked Rolling Thunder, hey man, like we really love the new design with the wider pit road of version 4. Can we use that? And they were like, yeah, cool. So this track is being used in 2 different leagues as far as I know.
Keep an eye on that. Number 1 shows up as 0-1 on our scoring pile line, but the number 1 of Jeremy Jeffries, I believe he'll be on pit road this time by, was one of the first to initiate the start of the pit stop cycle the first time round.
That's one of my favorite paint schemes in the field tonight. I love that Oreo car. Love Oreo cookies in general, and then the colors on top of that just make it look even better.
I love the look of food-related cars, but I hate them because they make me hungry.
Yes. Some more guys going a lap down here.
What do you say, boys? We put the broadcast on pause, grab some dairy, and eat some cookies.
There you go.
I've got some Oreo Mega stuffs here in the pantry here, but
Jeremy's not coming down alone this time.
No.
Wow, hot pitting like crazy right here. Trading paint 4-1. Here's another pack. There we go. Oh, somebody's going in hot in reverse.
Greg Palmer went around. He almost saved it. Oh, there's Dennis McCarthy. Oh, look out. Kulik having to take evasive maneuvers out into the grass.
McCarthy's got to be careful. The game could disqualify him. He gets it going.
Oh, and now Godfrey's going to get spun on pit road by Mark Paglia. Godfrey was coming in. Paglia was coming out. Cars need turn signals.
Brake lights, wiper blades, they need all kinds of stuff. Air conditioners. Very exciting pit stops this evening. All green flag.
Haven't seen anybody drift yet, though.
No.
We're only past halfway. We got at least one more pit stop coming up.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
What makes this interesting, too, is obviously in all 4 of the previous races, we've had at least one caution to break things up and make things a little bit clearer for the drivers in terms of what the fuel strategy looks like. With us going green since the start of this race, based off of the maths, once they make the final pit stop, they're going to find themselves still about 6 to 7 laps short on fuel. So it's going to be interesting here to see if anybody's able to save fuel during the course of these runs. If you're able to save even just 1 lap during the span of 3 different runs here, I think we might be under caution. Yes, we are. There's the first yellow of the night, and we've got quite a number of drivers on the back straightaway.
Ulysses Sandoval, Glenn Harris.
Michael Norman as well. These were drivers that were all running together, trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. Field is frozen, so I think they still will remain on the tail end of the lead lap as the leaders were making their way around them. I do not believe we've hit the point yet for race back. That's why we saw a number of drivers fan out when the caution came out. They were all just holding their positions. And this is going to be a big break because just coming in on the scoring system, Greg Lovell got a black flag during that cycle of pit stops. So now he'll be able to come down pit road, serve the penalty. Granted, he'll start towards the tail end of the field, but he'll still be up with the lead group.
Taking a look at the replay here, we got Norman and Ulysses Sandoval. That might be... Oh.
We're running together here, and...
Oh, Harris kind of... Yeah, they kind of got together there coming out of turn 2.
Norman was just an innocent victim right there. Looks like Harris kind of stepped into Ulysses a little bit right there, and...
Yeah, Harris was with a group of 3, himself, Carroll, and Hagelin, so they obviously had more speed than the 2 cars ahead of them.
Yeah, he kind of, just a little bit of a, he might have got on the apron just a tad, and then it upset the car.
Did clip the apron.
And then it kind of drifted up into the lane there. He let about a lane or maybe a lane and a half and got a hold of Ulysses.
Pretty good impact there for both Sandoval and Norman. It will be interesting to see if they'll be able to remain up to speed or not. I'd be a little bit concerned about that front end impact for Michael into the aid of Glenn Harris.
Came down, looks like he got the inside wall a little bit too.
We're going to have to wait for scoring to be official here, because it looks like Norman and Harris did not make it back to the line before the leaders went around them. I don't know if they were able to keep their positions on the tail end of the lead lap or not. We do have a number of drivers coming down and topping off, so more than likely we're going to see maybe some potential wave arounds here.
Currently got the standings as of race 4 rolling on screen there. This is race number 5, of course. So, question about Greg then. To serve that black flag, he can't do it under yellow, can he?
Actually, he can.
Okay.
He actually can. So, if you get a black flag under caution and it doesn't get cleared, you have to wait until we go green to be able to get it cleared. But if you get a black flag under green flag conditions, you then, if a caution comes out, have the option to be able to serve it under the yellow, which is why we see Greg staying out here. So he's basically cutting his losses. He knows he's got the black flag. He knows he's going to have to start shotgun in the field for the restart. So why now stay out lap, get the bonus point for leading, and then come down and serve? I like this call by the 080 or by the 880.
Oh, okay.
So I just got a message from Michael. Why he's using his phone while racing, I don't know, but he tells me he says he has no damage and he's one of the lucky dogs.
Ask him to prove it. We need to see some identification, sir.
We get a phantom debris caution. We'll know Michael threw his phone out the window.
Yeah. There's that Winnebago in turn two.
So that's why I was kind of wanting to see how this all cycled around here, because I didn't know if Norman and Harris would be eligible for the lucky dogs or not. They are the first two cars one lap down. Looks like that is actually going to be the case. You see Mike Mangialardi, John Godfrey staying out, Cody Lamas as well. These are drivers that were trapped a lap down. Look like they are going to take the wave around to get back onto the lead lap. If my math is correct, that should have us with 36 of our original 40 drivers back on the lead lap on this upcoming restart.
So the 880 is allowed to do a stop and go?
Well, he can actually take service too.
Oh, okay.
He can take service and the black flag will clear.
Oh, okay, cool. And that's how the game does it. That's not the league doing it.
Correct.
That's so lucky for him.
Well, it took a while for us to get our first caution of the night. We were about 2/3 of the way through this race. I mentioned about the fact that the trends in the first 4 races of the season, 2 races saw 3 cautions, 2 races saw only 1 caution. So now, the big question is this the only yellow flag we're going to see here tonight, or are we in for maybe a couple more and these drivers going to have to put their survival instincts to the test? So far, Grant Wesley, the race leader, has been out in front for 7 laps. Chuck McClure, he's led 6. 2 for Brian Schilling, 1 for Terry Bombard. Tim Nofsker with 1. Michael Norman with 1, and most recently, Greg Lovell with 1. Lap leader of the night, though, has been Rodney Sullins. Only driver currently in the double digits in laps led. 24 laps out in front here tonight.
Yeah, he got the lead after the first round of green flag pit stops, and everybody looked content to just ride behind him during that run. No, he had one challenge from Joe DeSpirito, but other than that, it was all Rodney Sullins out front there.
We talk about how in super speedway racing, no 2 races are ever the same. Rodney coming into tonight, 1 top 5, 1 in the overall points. 24 circuits out in front here tonight. Guess how many laps he had led coming into this evening? Just 1.
No way, that's cool.
Should get the lights out this time by. See the lucky dogs go around, get their laps back. Trio of wave around drivers will follow them. Actually, it looks like 4 drivers going to get the wave around. Add Pat McCarskey to that total. We'll have, it looks like, 4 drivers battling for lucky dog spots. Sandoval, Seminara, Harris, and Little. When we go back green, Wesley's Dodge going to be the control car on the restart, as we'll have 22 laps to go. We're outside the fuel window. I think you'd have to be a master saver to be able to make it the rest of the way under green flag conditions. Rodney Sullins will line up to his outside. Then you got Ken Roberts, Joe DeSpirito in row 2. Jeremy Jeffries, last week's winner, Josh Metallic, row 3. Brian Schilling, RJ Cabana, Robert Breedlove, and Bobby Farrell. That is going to be your top 10 here for this upcoming restart. One thing that we've failed to talk about is this is the second week of the bracket challenge. Our original 32 drivers have now been whittled down to 16 drivers, at least on the winner's side of the bracket. We're putting more focus on the drivers that were eliminated and still have a shot on the loser's side of the bracket in the upcoming weeks. But tonight, Grant Wesley, race leader, takes on Denny Carroll. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen in this situation. Both Jeff Crivello and Randy Waugh, both not in the field tonight, and they were taking each other on in one of the brackets. So
how do you score
I don't
that
know how you call that one.
That's above our pay grade, boys.
Yeah, that's an admin decision.
I mean, Randy Watt was in our chat here, so maybe that could go for something. I don't know.
Crivello's currently in the TeamSpeak too. So
okay. Well, that's a draw right there.
I thought he was out there,
taking on Godfrey. Yeah. That's an interesting battle. The 7-11 and the 7-12. Greg Palmer's facing Tim Knopfsker. Brian Schilling against Robert Breedlove. They're both up here nose to tail. Josh Metallic taking on Chuck McClure. Terry Bombard versing Kelly Causey, and Ulysses Sandoval against Greg Lovell. So we'll see how the brackets sort themselves out at the conclusion of this one, as we're back green flag racing. 22 laps to go. These drivers going to find themselves roughly about 2 laps short on fuel, maybe 2.5 to 3 laps short, especially if you're the race leader. I don't think anyone can make it. So now the question will be, when do they make that final pit stop if we go green to the finish?
I don't know. There's a car in the picture that's known for getting excellent fuel mileage. I'm talking about the 4 of Brian Schilling. So
I was going to say, if there's going to be drivers that might be able to stretch that fuel mileage, I would say Lovell. I've seen him do some crazy stuff with clutching.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up Brian Schilling. If we go back to that first round of pit stops, the last few drivers to come to pit lane during that cycle went 21 completed laps before pitting. Brian Schilling and Terry Bombard. When we talk about the comfort level these drivers have with this mod, Jeremy Jeffries was glued to the back bumper of Ken Roberts off of turn 2 and all the way down the back straightaway, trying to keep that inside line side by side with Grant on the top.
Oh, Cabana moves up the front on the high side there in front of Richard Martin. We found Richard Martin's car file, so we get to see the 43 in all its glory this evening. I've showed it a couple times. Yeah,
always nice to see that petty blue STP up there.
One of a few Dodge Challengers in the field. Grant Wesley, Billy Elliser amongst some of the others.
Love that body style.
Wesley making lane changes. Look at this.
Oh, that boy. Was close off of 4 between Sullins and Roberts.
I think they actually got a hold of each other on that one.
Neither of them lost much ground, if anything.
Well, that caution saved a lot of drivers. Look at all the contenders we've got up here in this lead group now that were struggling to keep pace enough to be able to stay up at least on the lead lap. You got Billy Elliser in the middle line there in the 26. Richard Martin moving right down there in front of him. Javier Negron behind them. Mark Pagli up on that third line. I mean, I'm looking right now, and we literally doubled our pack size from prior to the caution to now. We only had 20 drivers up in the lead group. We've now got 35 lead lap cars in this lead pack.
And everybody's still running now, aren't they? We still have 40 cars out there.
Oh, actually.
Or is that?
Just saw this. Yeah, good thing you brought that up, Kyle. Just 4 laps ago.
Yeah.
Mechanical problems for Kelly Causey.
Oh.
Engine piston. Very specific. Not just the engine, it was just a piston.
Well, Kelly came into this race battling Terry Bombard in the bracket challenge, so he obviously won't be moving on, but maybe more importantly, he was 11th in points coming into tonight. He was in one of those coveted playoff positions inside of the top 12. This DNF certainly going to drop him below. He'll look to recover in the final 3 races of the regular season.
That's weird we missed that one, an engine failure. Under yellow, maybe.
Could very well have been. Or if it was under
laps?
green, credit to Kelly Causey, because a lot of times engine failures under green bring out a debris caution.
5 laps ago, we might have been under caution.
I've had an engine failure either. I still can't decide what happened, but it was either coming to pit road or leaving pit road. It was no missed shift or anything. It just one of those random deals. And unfortunately, I was leading the race when that happened. So that was
Yeah, I have seen it happen under yellow. Your pace speed, 70 mile an hour around a track like this, and it's just, boom, silence. And then you're like, oh, neat.
This past Monday night, we were calling the Barebones Racing Series race at Iowa. Grant Wesley had a strong run that night, was up inside the top 3 the entire evening, and then during a caution period, engine just let go. Engine clutch was the reason for the retirement, so... You wouldn't think it would happen under caution or under pacing, but it can happen just as much as when the car's up to full song.
I swear it never happens when you're struggling in a race. It's usually when you're running well. It's when you get an engine failure.
How about the 92 of Bobby Farrell? He's putting together a really nice run this evening. Been up in the lead pack all night. Qualified well. P5 off the grid. And right now battling with Joe DeSpirito for that 4th position. Farrell comes into this race 28th in the point standings. No top 10 so far this season. I really hope I haven't jinxed him because he's putting together maybe one of the best races he's had this season.
And that's another great looking STP car. It's almost the inverted version from the 43, the darker blues. So at least they don't look identical.
That might be a Bob Dixon tribute right there.
I believe it is.
Because he always ran a STP car pretty similar to that, pretty similar colors. If it is, that's a very nice touch.
So as these drivers battle up here for spots inside of the top 5, we've also got the battle within the battle. Bob Seminara is, I believe, the 7th or 8th car in that outside line. He is the first car 1 lap down. He's trying to keep all the other lap down cars behind him, hoping that a yellow will bail him out and get him back on the lead lap. Ulysses Sandoval right now is being scored the 2nd car 1 lap down. He's a little further back in the field. The driver that he needs to worry about right now is that Krispy Kreme number 8, who's a couple cars behind him, Glenn Harris. Those are the 3 drivers right now scored at -1. Only 2 of them can get the free pass should we get a future caution.
This should be in the key word. I mean, just the way the trend has been the last couple of weeks, we've only had 1 caution tonight.
Yeah, it's been some fantastic racing here on Thursdays, especially with the amount of people that are showing up. Full field, full grid, 40 cars starting tonight. These guys are flawless. The pit stops are excellent.
Puts just as much emphasis, we talk about must survive, puts just as much emphasis at must finish, whether the car's up to speed or not, because every point matters, not just for the points lead, not just for a spot in the playoffs, but to even make the field each week. I mean, it's super close, the points and the names that we have down there hovering around the top 30 in the standings. There are a few drivers, 4 I believe in total, that are just hanging out at the rear of the field. I believe that's on purpose. John Godfrey, Cody Lamas, Mike Mangialardi, and Pat McCarski. Remember, they took the wave around under that caution, so they're going to be a little bit shorter on fuel than everybody else. I'm not 100% certain with the number of laps that Grant has been running out in front here, if maybe they'd be on the equal number with him, and they'd all come to pit road on the same lap. Grant might be able to go another lap or 2 further, but those drivers there, if they don't get the benefit of a caution to come down pit road with everybody else, they're going to have to come down pit road a lot sooner than most of the race leaders. So right now they're just kind of waiting and praying.
That's always the risk you take. Taking the wave around, you can't pit under caution. Got to get back on the lead lap somehow, so I think it's worth a gamble.
Just checking out the number of laps we have left. I believe Rodney Sullen's bonus point for leading the most laps will stand. From this point on, I believe the most laps that Grant can lead. Oh, well, actually, hold the phone there. My scoring just updated. Well, potentially, they may end up tying for most laps led if Grant led from here to the finish. Rodney's led 27 laps, Grant's led 16, and we're coming to 10 laps to go. Not sure Grant will lead every lap from here to the checkered flag, though, because we know he's definitely going to have to pit before the race is over, because he's been the lead car on this final run.
We were just taking a look from Josh McCallicam there. Farrell getting a run on the bottom line. Getting that rear bumper, getting a workout on that 92 from the 22 right behind him. 3G Greg Palmer pushing him.
Now, I mentioned about the fact that when we went back green, more than likely, majority of the field were going to find themselves 2 laps short. You only have to come down, take on a splash of fuel, you're good to go the rest of the way. For Grant Wesley, I believe he's going to have to take on a half a can of fuel to be able to make it the rest of the way. So
Just
we're going to have
being
to
the leader?
see. Oh, we got a car that just blew over towards the back of the pack. Ron Hagelin, caution is out.
Well, there's the caution everybody needs right there, and
I don't know who turned him, but that car, the rear wheels were up off the ground.
Mangialardi on pit road when the yellow came out, so he's going to be allowed to take service. On the 29 Mike Mangialardi.
He was one of the wave around cars, so he had to pit.
Oh, he's
Hagelin?
Looks like he wasn't clear of the, who was that, the 33?
Tim Anderson, the 33.
Just loading up a replay here. Find the 111.
This caution is a big break for a lot of drivers. You mentioned those drivers that took the wave around. Grant Wesley, who led, he was the leader for that entire stint. And you have 2 drivers that are going to get back on the lead lap. So a lot of people are happy to see this caution.
Yeah, there's upwards of about 36 drivers that may have all collectively just yelled whoopee over their radio.
Yeah.
Oh, the roof flaps and the hood flaps did their job on that one. That thing wanted to go over.
And it just barely got the wall there, so should be okay from how it looks.
He was on the lead lap at the time, so he'll be caught up with the rest of the field here. It's like Bob Seminary, Ulysses Sandoval. They're going to get bailed out here with this yellow. They'll get the free pass.
The underneath the hood flaps says, "My driving scares me too." On the 111 of Hagelin.
Is that another Sullen's Easter egg? We were worried about them.
They hiding all over the place. Oh, wow. Yeah, so the 29 of Mike Mangialardi might fare pretty well on this because he was on pit road when the yellow comes out, so he's allowed to get service without getting a penalty for entering closed pit because it was open when he went in. So,
and everyone's coming down pit road, so he should be able to stay out. And I think he may cycle to the race lead.
That's what I'm thinking.
If that's the case, that's a heck of a call.
Oh, that's
by Mike Mangialardi.
Crazy. Yeah, man, I'm going to have to pit early. All by yourself, you're losing tons of track position, and then when you're halfway down to your pit stall, the yellow comes up, and you're like, oh, okay. Jam as much gas in there as you need, and now they'll have to... Oh, I was thinking the official on pit road was going to have the stop sign out, but I guess
Richard
the pack
Martin
cleared.
stayed out.
This is interesting. Yeah, there's a few drivers that have elected to stay out here. Demar, Doug Hewlick, Greg Lovell, and Chuck McClure. Remember I mentioned that we were about 2 laps short of making it to the finish. There is every possibility that these drivers here feel that they can save those 2 laps under these pacing laps, and they gain track position in the process. This is a gamble, but it might work.
Well, there was a race, what was it, last season that Richard Martin won via fuel mileage. So
He was going to come down pit road when the caution came out. Calden and Aldebo said, "Nah, you know what? If I run it out, I run it out." He was able, probably on fumes, to get across the start-finish line. So gambling again this year, why not?
So here's a thought, too, because you've got these guys gambling, thinking they can make it. If they can't, Mangialardi, he's got tons. So he's back there a little bit. But Mangialardi should have enough fuel because he was on pit roads. So he should be good to the end. So this will be interesting. He's ready to pounce.
We'll have to see where he cycles around to. I'm not sure if it goes based off of the scoring when you come back around to the start-finish line or not. Grant Wesley and Rodney Sullins are currently running ahead of him, and they pit. So they may have actually crossed the start-finish line before Mangialardi came around.
Is McClure going to go?
Line.
Oh, no, McClure stays out. He was down there, but he changed his mind. He came back out onto the track.
Drivers are bored. They need something to do. Maybe I can fake drivers to pit road.
Yeah. You got that little that pylon there. That's all they got to do. Which way are you going to go?
Who also has a victory this season, is another driver who has stayed out. So 5 drivers playing the gamble here. And I'm not certain exactly which gamble they're going with. I don't know if they're going with the gamble that they're going to have enough to make it to the checkered flag, or they're thinking that maybe, just maybe, they're going to get another yellow between now and then, and maybe the race will end under caution. They'll have a better chance of saving fuel under another to get to the conclusion. I'm not exactly sure which side of the coin they're exactly banking on, but they are hard saving.
This is still CTS physics, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You got to take that into consideration with all off that you get with those physics. That's gonna be pretty nerve-wracking for these guys.
So Demore in the 43 up there, following the pace car, as you can see. First place will have lane choice. Well, always forget about that too. If he wants to switch to the high line, he can. It looks like he has, actually.
I don't think they've chosen yet. Lights are still on the pace car. And I think if you're Martin, I think it's a clear choice. You got to take the bottom. One, it's the shorter way around the racetrack, and you're trying to save as much fuel as possible. Second, we've not ever really seen a driver that chooses the outside line get a good enough launch to be able to maintain the lead off of turn 2. Normally, with it being shorter distance on the bottom of the racetrack as they're getting up to speed, the inside line prevails, and we'll see that inside line car then move up to the middle groove. So I don't think you're going to see that 43 choose anything but the bottom this time around.
Speaking of being on the bottom, you see Chuck McClure and Tim Knopfsker running the apron. Tells me that they are very, very close on fuel. So
I think, too, this late in the race, by the time we go green, there's only going to be a few laps left. Taking the bottom would be a better bet, I would think, because you'll just be able to hold it down there.
Like we're going to have 4 laps to go, if indeed we get the lights out this time by. I think we have to get to around completion of 64 for the race to officially end under yellow. They might be able to do a quickie yellow if we ended up getting a caution on lap 63.
The lights are out. You see the 2 free passes go on by.
So Martin will indeed take the bottom. He'll put Hewlick up top, with Lovell, McClure, and Knopfsker, the gambler. Just hoping that they have enough fuel to get to the end. Everybody else behind them, they know they've got enough in the tank. They've got that security blanket, but like if they can go aggressive now, Grant Wesley going to line up third on that outside line. Rodney Sullins, who will officially lock up most laps led here tonight now with the different leaders we've had under this caution period. He'll be 7th. Mike Mangialardi with that call, it gained him track position. Didn't get him to the lead, but it gained him track position. He's up in the top 10 now in 8th, with Mark Paglia and Milt Surratt, the top 10. Start this race, 39 of them still running, and with this caution flag, 36 of them going to be on the lead lap for what is more than likely going to be our final restart of the night.
And you got 4 drivers that are very close on field. You got the 2 dominant cars, the 88 and the 38. You're just a couple of rows behind them. 4 lap shootout, man. This could get wild.
Grant Wesley, you've got a victory. You're leading the points. I don't think it's going to take very long for him to jump up to a third line.
Oh, no.
Got Keith Bynum looming just outside the top 10 there. Josh Metallic, last week's winner. Greg Palmer. Michael Norman's worked his way back up here. 14th on this restart with Bobby Farrell. These guys up here at the front run out of fuel. It's going to be a scramble to try to avoid them, so can't give this win to anybody just yet. Still going to be 4 more circuits that they're going to have to make. Will they all be made under green?
I mean, next flag will end the race. Well, not necessarily, because stuff happens under yellow, so I shouldn't say that.
Good launch for both lanes there. DeMar, I think, got a little bit better of a push on that inside line. He'll be clear of Hewlick through the center of 1 and 2. I wouldn't move up to that middle line until you see that 23 get the surge off the corner.
Already making a third line. Looks like Milt Surratt's going to lead it for the time being.
Got help. Metallic, Norman up there with him.
Oh, screeching tires. Yellow flag up.
McClure to the outside,
Caution.
Wesley behind him, and yeah.
This is going to end the race. And Martin's got all the lanes cleared. It's the line, and that may have been the proverbial checkered flag for Richard Martin. As we're wrecking up in turn 1 right after they took the caution. We got cars upside down. Schilling, Hewlick, Garrett. Michael Norman's going to grip flip.
Yo.
Oh, man, Denny Carroll. There were a bunch of drivers that all crossed the line inside of the top 10 to top 20, and now we've got a bunch of damaged race cars. Metallic is all crunched
This
up.
is after they cross the line, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the race isn't over
So
yet.
they get their spots back, or what?
I believe they do. I believe they do. With race back, I believe they get their spots back here. My goodness, Schilling's car. The hood's
Anderson
caved in.
got pummeled, too.
Engine smoking.
And this wasn't even the cause of the caution. I have no idea what the cause of, what the cause of the caution was, but
We'll have to try and figure that out.
Despirito, Schilling, yeah, there's cars
Whatever it
upside
was,
down.
I think it may have been less destructive than what happened in the aftermath as they came back to the stripe. Looks like it was going into turn 3. Javier Negron in the 40. Going to get a bump from behind by Terry Bombard in the 10. They all just kind of stacked up on that outside line. Javier gets a bump from John Godfrey that actually straightens him back out and keeps him going.
but that was enough to bring out the caution, but that was the calm before the storm. It's got a big wad of cars right here, and see where this mess starts.
Looks like maybe bumper grab between the 29 of Mike Mangialardi and the 24 of Joe DeSpirito. Sends DeSpirito down into Brian Schilling, and it's just on from there. Jeremy Jeffries up and over. Brian Lovell.
And look at Jeffries go over a couple of times.
There's a couple of drivers that are going to try and limp their wounded race cars to the checkered flag, salvage what they can. Jeremy Jeffries couldn't refire his car.
Oh, man, what a shame.
I think Jeremy was 14th when they crossed the line to take the caution. He's going to end up finishing outside of the top 30, maybe somewhere around the 35th, 36th position.
Wow, man. So much going on, I can't even see it all. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's just so much contact being made and all of that. It's one of those typical corner wrecks where there's no safe place to go.
Yeah, that like the one of Jeffries just demolished.
Who was that upside down right there that rode all the way down upside down? I couldn't tell who
Doug
that was.
Hewlick, I believe, in the 23.
he's got nothing, no roof paint left. That's for sure.
Josh Metallic just pushed him right there, nowhere to go, and I don't know how Cody Lamas avoided that, but nice job on his part.
Same for RJ Cabana. Bernie Mobbs was able to snake his way through. Well, the admins will be busy under these last couple of laps. A number of drivers left the scene smoking.
And smoke.
And so they will probably be getting black flags for dropping debris. Admins will clear those to make sure they don't get disqualified, but...
How about this gamble, though, from Richard Martin? In
back-to-back seasons, how about it?
First race we get to see his car, and we're going to see it in Victory Lane, it looks like.
White flag just displayed over the hood of his STP Dodge Challenger. Going to lead the final 7 laps of this race. The gamble on fuel is going to pay off for all of our podium finishers. Greg Lovell, Tim Nofsker going to finish in 2nd and 3rd behind him. Like Rodney Summons and Mark Paglia are going to complete the top 5. Richard came into tonight. We mentioned about the fact the way to make the playoffs, be in the top 12 in the standings. DMAR came in 12th in points. He's locked in.
Don't you love it when a plan comes together? I swear, that is...
Correct me if I'm wrong. When he pulled off the strategy last season, it was during the playoffs. Now this strategy is going to get him in the hunt for the championship.
Yeah, he wasn't in the playoffs last season. Just thought, got nothing to lose. I'd try something on fuel mileage. It paid off. And tonight it's going to get him into the playoffs.
And the streak will end at 4. So far this season, the Chevrolet Bowties have dominated the races. First non-Chevy in the form of a Dodge will get the checkered flag here tonight.
Didn't Grant Wesley win in a Dodge, or is that in a Chevrolet?
That was in a Chevy.
Oh, that's right.
He's chilling back there. His car's smoking, but he's going for it. He wants to keep that position. It's leaking, but it hasn't blown up yet. He's in 16th last time around.
Say the game wouldn't the game get probably get a black flag doing that?
I would think, yeah.
Admins will clear that though.
Because he's able to keep minimum speed because we're under yellow, right? So it's kind of, hey, if the engine's gonna stay together for another half mile, he might also take 16th place.
This is insane. I'm looking at some of these finishing positions as they come around to take the checker. You mentioned about Brian. He's going to finish 16th. Michael Norman, who we saw up and over, 15th. Joe DeSpirito, who we saw up and over, 17th. Kyle, remember you didn't know who that car was upside down, Doug Kulik? He's going to get a top 10. He's 9th.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
After just riding down the banking right there, upside down. Comes out with a top 10 finish, man. The crazy
Durable
things you
engines,
see.
I guess.
I'll say.
Well, the checkered flag waves. Richard Martin will add his name to the list of drivers that have won here in season 67. This time he's going to get to race for a championship. He only has one championship here on Thursday nights. The season that he won it by 1 point. Didn't have a single win. He won it on consistency. Maybe this season he'll be a multi-time champion and have a win to boot.
What a great race.
By the way, in 2 weeks' time, be fully prepared for a 1 caution race. We hit the 3 cautions here tonight. So we kept the trend going. It was either 1 or 3 yellows.
I am invaded.
But you are not Zim.
Like you watched that show.
Michael, that is very dangerous, texting while driving.
We're under caution, okay?
I'm gonna actually say that he was texting while the wreck was happening, only had one hand on the wheel. That's why I grip flipped down the
I saw that happen. I saw that wreck happening. Like, I legit saw the Ulysses get too low as the car came up off the corner. And then I was like, yep, here it goes. So I stayed to the outside, sandwiched the wall, spun, and somehow did not get any damage out of it.
Yeah, it looked like you took a pretty hard hit on the front end a couple of times, but...
Now, these cars are durable, and luckily, because I wasn't the main cause of the caution, I got the lucky dog.
Richard Martin has plenty of fuel to do.
I was going to say, I wonder how much he's got. We'll be talking with him in victory lane here in just a moment, as well as the rest of the podium finishers. All three of the drivers that finished on the podium came into tonight holding playoff positions. Nofsker obviously with his victory, but he was 9th in points. Greg was 6th in the standings coming into tonight, and we documented Richard Martin in 12th. Be interesting to see after that massive wreck, after the caution was received, what happens in terms of shaking up the point standings, and these drivers will have a well-deserved week off. Get back to it in 2 weeks' time. See if we can now head down trackside and get a hold of those podium finishers. Let's dial up a driver that has already been to victory lane this season, follows it up here tonight with a solid top 5 run. Let's get a hold of Tim Nofsker. Hey, Tim, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I sure do, guys.
Wow, wild race here tonight. Kind of a tale of two races. We ended up having the long green flag run first half of this race. Yellow comes out, everybody gets bunched up, and we eventually saw a couple more cautions before the conclusion, including that massive wreck there after you guys had taken the race ending yellow. But you were one of the drivers that went with the gamble to stay out, risk it on fuel, see if you had enough to get to the end. I was kind of balancing two strategies in my head. I want to know on which side of the coin you were. Was it a gamble to save enough if you guys had gone green to the end, or was it a gamble to save fuel, banking that this race was going to have a caution finish it out?
Well, I had just enough gas to probably make it to the start-finish line. I know the 880 was way shorter than that. He said he was almost 2 laps when we took the green, and I think Demar would have been in trouble leading because he had to be, if he was at all right on the number. But I'd been saving that entire run trying to get it down to a half can if I did have a green flag pits or splash, if I did have to make a green flag pit stop. But it never played out. It would have been interesting to see what happened.
So you know the situation of the competitors around you that are all trying to risk it on fuel as well. You also have the luxury coming in tonight already having won a race. You know you're going to be battling for a championship, so why not gamble, see if you can be the first multi-time winner on the season? How much more difficult is it to position yourself when you know it's a fuel strategy race and some drivers ahead of you may end up running out of fuel at a super speedway as opposed to any other track?
Well, you got to hope that they'll let everybody know that they're starting to sputter. But yeah, it's difficult. I mean, you know, if I would have cleared probably the 23 in 1 and 2, I'd plan on going high just to get out of their tire tracks. But yeah, you know, I mean, it's kind of luck of the draw at that point.
Obviously, 3 races left to go here in the regular season. You don't have the pressure of having to try and find victory lane to get into the battle for the championship. But we ended up seeing here tonight maybe a little bit more of a ramp up in aggressiveness than we've seen the first half of this season. Did you sense that as you were out there on the track, especially with all the varying strategies we had? And do you think this is going to continue to trend as we get closer to that cutoff, the end of the regular season?
I'll be honest with you. I couldn't even scratch the top 20. I got mired back, and then I need to give an apology to Kelly Causey because I was trying to gain some getting into the pits, and I ended up spinning him out. So I apologize for that. But yeah, there was some aggression from what I could see, but it's only going to get amped up more and more every race till we hit the cutoff.
Well, Tim, a great run for you here tonight, following up your win from a couple of weeks ago. You guys got an off week coming up here before you get back to it for the remainder of this regular season for the final 3 races of season 67. A great run for you here tonight. The gamble paid off. You net some valuable points as well, so congratulations on that. And before I let you go, floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Yeah, I'll give a shout-out to Demar. That was nice to see him win one. And obviously, thank you to Josh and Rodney for helping me steer the ship. We're a pretty good team. And give a shout out to Chuck. I had to talk him into staying out. So Chuck, Brian, Mark, I like drafting with those guys. So yeah, give a shout out to them. Shout out to, and I meant to do this last time, a shout out to Jason Scheck. He resurrected this paint job. It's from 15 years ago. It's a long time ago, but I want to give a shout out to him for doing a great job painting me up this car. And other than that, that's about it. Thank you guys for everything you do.
Well, Tim, congratulations on the great run here tonight. Best of luck here as we get ready to finish out the season starting in 2 weeks' time.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Tim Nofsker bringing it home P3 here this evening. Let's see if we can get a hold of the driver. I believe he's here. Yes, indeed he is. Let's get the runner-up finisher here tonight, Greg Lovell. Hey, Greg, this guy's up here in the broadcast booth. Get a copy.
Yeah, man.
Hey, we've seen you in the fuel conversation a time or two here on Thursday nights. I remember a couple of seasons ago you were part of that half dozen that were sputtering coming off of turn 4, trying to see who had enough momentum to get back to the start-finish line. Here tonight in the conversation again, one of the gamblers to make it on fuel. We were just talking with Tim, and it sounds like you might have been a little bit shorter on fuel than some of the others. Were you in the camp of maybe hoping that caution would come out so that way you could make it to the line on pacing?
Well, when the caution before that one came out, I was 2 laps short on gas, and I knew we was going to run three caution laps, and I knew I could clutch and save enough to at least get it even. So it was switching. It switched to 4 and 4 right at the line. So if I'd have stayed behind DMAR the whole time, or and just lifted out of my throttle a little bit here and there, I would have been fine.
Whenever we end up finishing out a week and I look at the point standings, there always seems to be those drivers that kind of are under the radar. You don't necessarily notice them, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, hold on a second. They may have a shot at this thing. Obviously, we know you're a terrific super speedway racer, but this is maybe about the most consistent we've seen you in a full-time season. You were 6th coming into tonight. You follow it up with a runner-up finish here this evening. It's looking like this 880 is ready to go playoff racing.
I hope so, man. I just when the season started, I just made up my mind and just, said I'm just going to be patient and try to get top 10s and try to be consistent as I can be, and try to stay out of wrecks and just do the best I can do, man. I mean, a lot of times, man, it was just being impatient or trying to put my car in spots that I shouldn't have and stuff like that. But this season I've been just a little bit smarter as far as where to ride at and stuff.
A solid outing for you here tonight. You started well this evening, rolled off the grid, it looks like, from P7, kept it up front all night long, finished it up front here, able to make it on fuel and bring it home with a solid 2nd place finish. Greg, as you said, getting those consistent finishes here to close out the regular season, maybe lock up a spot in the playoffs. And hey, who knows, we may be talking in victory lane in these upcoming final 3 races as well. But a great run for you here tonight. Congratulations on keeping the consistency up. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout outs.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to all the RTG guys, the admins, Sean Prime and Josh Alec and Rodney and all these guys, man, for doing what they do. I know what it takes. It's a job to keep a league going. I mean, it ain't just a little bitty stuff here and there, man. It's a lot. So, I'd like to give a shout out to PRL, Keith Bynum and them guys over there, and I think that's pretty much about it.
Well, Greg, a great run.
You all too, Seth. coming over here and televising for us, man. Y'all do a great job.
Well, we appreciate it, Greg. Congratulations on the great run here tonight. Enjoy the off week here, and then back at it in 2 weeks' time for this final home stretch of the regular season.
We off next week?
We are. Yep, for the duels.
Oh, okay. Team 4.
That's Greg Lovell. He brings home second place here tonight. He's going to end up moving up in the point standings a couple of positions. He'll be fourth in points when we resume racing in a couple of weeks' time. This driver, he'll be going into our next race as a winner this season and knowing that he will battle for a championship. Let's dial up the former champ, Richard Martin. Hey, D-Mar, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I sure do.
Well, let's rewind to last season. We saw you pull off a fuel gamble in the closing stages of a race that you weren't in the playoffs, but it was a playoff race. Unfortunately, it didn't net you a championship. Fast forward to tonight, you played the gamble game again. This time, you got a chance to battle for a championship, locking yourself into the playoffs. We were talking with the other two drivers that were around the same numbers as you, playing the same strategy. Did it work out exactly the way you planned, or did you have enough in the tank still if this thing had gone green to the end?
No, it's kind of like deja vu all over again. I really don't think I could have made it, but I just kind of gambled on the caution. If I did feel that, that pressure getting real low, I would have pulled down low and let the cars go by. But I had about 9 pounds, I think, with 2 laps to go once the caution came out. So pretty much knew I was home free then. But to answer your question, yeah, it was another gamble.
Had a really good start to the season. 3 top 10s in these first 5 races. Obviously the victory here tonight. The season where you end up netting the championship, you had a 0 in the win column. How much pep is in the step of this 43 now that you've got this victory to maybe double down, get the championship, but this time have a victory as well?
Well, it feels good maybe to go in, with a victory. It feels really good, especially after last week when I had some huge computer problems. I reset everything and I couldn't race, so I don't blame the guys. I wouldn't want to be around myself with that situation I was having, but it's all fixed and everything worked out for the best.
You had a car that was really up front the entirety of the evening, whether you were playing that fuel strategy at the end or not. A really strong piece. Started this race with good track position, P8. How important is the starting track position in translation to where the car finishes each week, or do you think you had a strong enough car that if you qualified at the back, we'd have still seen you up here at the front in the closing stages?
I always do my best to try to get up there to the front, but I mean, it's always good to start, somewhere in the top 10, but you never know what's going to happen. I did get stuck in the middle, I think, one time, and I was like all the way to the back, and I'm like, oh, gee whiz, here we go again. But at that point, there was plenty of time. I got back low and kind of just hoped it would go 3 wide, which it did. And when that happens, you can always kind of work your way up from the bottom and get back in at least top 15 or 18 at that point.
It's interesting because normally whenever we have a driver win during the regular season, I tell them they get to the privilege of answering my default race winner question. And that is, now that you've got the victory here, there's still 3 races left to go in the regular season, still stuff to be able to build on. What is the goal going forward for these final 3 races as you now prepare yourself for the postseason?
My strategy always is, top 10, top 5. I can get to the top 5 or 6, and I'm going to try and win. Without causing an incident. I don't have any incidents thus far. Let's just say it that way, thus far. And, just build from here,
Well, Richard, a great run for you here tonight. Nice to see that Richard Petty throwback parked in victory lane. We'll let you get back to your celebrating here in a moment, but before we do, we'll turn the microphone over to you for some well-deserved victory lane. Thank you, sponsors and shout-outs.
Well, thank you, FRN, Flatout Racing Network. Thank you, Seth, Blaine, Kyle. Thanks to Josh for admitting Thursday nights as usual. He does a great job. Thank you to Sean, Tim, Rodney, Jeremy. I'm sure I left somebody out as far as admins are concerned. I'd like to give a special shout out to Greg Lovell. He stayed behind me at the end. He had all the opportunity in the world to go high, and he chose to stay low. So I appreciate that, and I will pay him back for that. But overall, yeah, good race. It came down to another mileage thing again, which I guess I'm good at.
Certainly seemed to be last year and now this year, certainly looking like we can add your name to the list of drivers to maybe keep an eye on when it comes down to crunch time when we're looking at those fuel numbers. Richard, congratulations on the great run here tonight. Enjoy the week vacation before getting back at it here and getting yourself prepared for those playoffs in about a month's time.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a good way to go into an off week with a win, so I'm going to enjoy this and enjoy the races at Daytona. I might be going to the truck race, actually, so I'm going to enjoy that. And thank you guys for broadcasting. I appreciate it, and have a good night.
That's Demar, brings it home with the victory here tonight. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
First driver without a Chevrolet bow tie on the hood that goes to victory lane here tonight. Richard Martin going to move up a couple of spots in the standings as well to 9th in points. Just one thing that we ended up getting information in our YouTube chat when we were wondering about what the situation would be between Jeff Crivello and Randy Waugh, who would move on to the next round of the bracket challenge. Apparently, whoever is the highest seeded driver by default would move on. So that would be the 21 of Randy Waugh.
Luigi. Man, I am so mad because that last caution, I had the chance to stay out and I would have had the lead.
Why didn't you do it? Cletus would have.
But yeah, you probably would have, because I didn't think, one, we were going to get a race-ending caution, and two, I was like at least 3 laps short, so there was no way I was going to make it.
A wild way for us to head into an off week here. 5 races, 5 different drivers. We've had situations where we've ended up having a different race winner in every single one of the regular season races. With all these names that we see popping up here at the end of these races week after week after week, I would not be the least bit surprised if we go a perfect 8 for 8.
No, it has all the looks of it.
We've had it before, and more than 8.
Certainly
if I'm not mistaken.
No, I think you are correct. 3 cautions here tonight. So far, 3 races with 3 cautions, 2 races with 1 caution. Heard Nofsker comment that he did sense a little bit more aggression in the field here tonight. How do drivers, especially those that are up there, inside of the top 12 in the points, or those just on the cusp outside of the top 12 in points that may be relying on consistency to get them into the playoffs, how difficult is it going to be in terms of preparation in these final 3 weeks?
I think it's going to be hard to... I don't think you can really go into one of these next 3 races with a plan. Just got to go with what's happening, basically. I mean, we all know how unpredictable super speedway racing is to begin with. So, I mean, everybody's got a plan, and then the green flag drops, and that goes all out the window. So,
the regular season championship, it widens a little bit here tonight. Grant was able to bring it home in 7th place, so he will carry a 28-point advantage over Brian Schilling going into our next race.
Out of curiosity, where am I at points?
80th.
Let's see.
Yeah, probably.
81st.
Yep.
No chance.
You are 42nd right now.
There's like 55 drivers, so you're not last.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you ain't first, you're last, so technically you're last. But man, what an incredible race here tonight. As we say, we usually, every Thursday night, we're going to get a little bit of everything. Whether it ends up being the long green flag runs, the execution on pit road, or what we saw here in the closing stages, drivers taking the ultimate gamble to try and make it on fuel, and it pays dividends for Richard Martin, picking up his first checkered flag of season 67. Again, folks, we will not be here next week. Drivers will be off for the events at the Daytona International Speedway, but they will resume their regular season in 2 weeks' time. So be sure to join us on February the 19th. I believe I calculated right. Yes, February the 19th for the 6th race of season 67. 3 races left to go before we will put together our playoff grid. Again, congratulations to Richard Martin on his victory here tonight. Thanks for joining us on both Tarnation TV and Flatout Racing Network. For Blaine Donlin, Kyle Matthews, and interloping Michael Norman, I'm Seth Cole. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time here as we continue on season 67 rather, of the Run Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series.
Well,